Throughout history, parents have invented numerous methods to keep unruly children in line. See page 1 of the book Why Religion Exists, right up there with fear of death and common sense contradicting its own name. For a while in the 80s, the threat was simply behave yourself or we'll make you go to see Top of the Pops live or into the Houses of Parliament at literally any time now or then. I do think now, when parents want to control their slightly grown fluid mixtures, they should say something like, if you don't behave yourself, your father and I will both kill ourselves, forcing you to live with a comically evil distant relative who'll force you to live in squalor and try to marry you. It's a win-win method. Either your kids behave, or the parents get the blessed relief of death, which I'm guessing they all pray for, based on what my mum said to me as a small child. Wow, what a series of unfortunate events those statements were. I am a complete and utter twat. So in its ongoing attempt to turn every idea, no matter how small, into a TV series, I mean really, I was walking past a man who sneezed and suddenly he was surrounded by 20 grinning executives offering him 8 episodes in a Christmas special. Netflix has made a TV series out of Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, an IP that seems to be stalking me. When I was a kid, I saw these books everywhere, read by the kind of kids who, had they have lived in a different country, would have had a hard time choosing between a book and an assault rifle to show off their anger. A few years on, I did actually go and see the film, but I don't remember any of it, so clearly it had as much of an impact as being sodomised by a strand of cooked spaghetti. Now, after all these years, it's following me to telly, trying to tempt me in with its genuine sense of entertainment, engaging storytelling, and completely charismatic lead actor. I'm not falling for this again. Last time a stalker made me a similar offer, I had what must have been an out-of-date packet of Smarties. They were melted, salty, and clumped up my hair. For those of you who don't know, A Series of Unfortunate Events is the story of 3 orphans being repeatedly rehomed whilst being pursued by an uncle determined to steal their inheritance. Neither I nor anyone else in the world cares about who plays the kids, so who plays the uncle? Well, in this case it's Neil Patrick Harris, a man who seems to be making a career habit of improving the mediocre. My only real reference point for him is How I Met Your Mother, which would have been about as entertaining as unfolding an umbrella in your urethra had it not been for his over-the-top performance. And although this show is fun and interesting, it would have been a bland job if it wasn't for him. As I said before, this is not an original idea. It was based on a series of books, and I was curious to know the real differences between the TV show and the original books. So I read some comparison articles, because who has the time to read a book, or a 2-digit number of books? Luckily, such depressingly lonely people were there to say there are a couple of minor and major tweaks between the show and the books, but it remains largely faithful for us more intelligent viewers who ain't never read no books, and not just because they can't. You may wonder why I'm reviewing a children's show. Well, it's nothing new. For one thing, I've reviewed Shadowhunters, and not only was that aimed at kids, but made by them as well. But the main reason is, fuck you, it's January. We're making a list of every show releasing this month. I saw mostly reality TV shows, so it was basically a choice between reviewing A Series of Unfortunate Events or kill myself. Sorry to disappoint some of you. See that? That was an overtly dark joke. This show is full of them, yet for some reason I've seen this classed as a drama, which is a bit like classing The World at War as hardcore porn. If you judge it as a comedy, I can recommend it to some extent. After all, it is a children's show and I'm in my 20s. But if it's judged as a drama, the funny self-aware narrator ruins plot twists and damages tension. The effects go from tongue-in-cheek to distractingly bad, and Neil Patrick Harris is a goofy distraction rather than the charming pantomime villain he actually is. Yes, as a dark comedy at times it fucks up, it gets too goofy, the second half of the series gets quite dull as the humour gets repetitive, and the parents' plotline should not be there. But as a drama, it repeatedly shits itself, loses its medication, and denies the Holocaust. So watch the first 4 episodes for a decent laugh. I mean, what else are you going to watch? Celebrity Big Brother? Dance, Dance, Dance? The Voice? Fuck me, it's January.